Piece chapter 556. Okay, Oda, the bombshell. Let's get the bombshell out the way. They're gonna execute Ace ahead of schedule. That's ballsy, but I get it. If you do that, you provoke Whitebeard potentially from moving where he is. If this is a chess game, Whitebeard will be the king. You're provoking the king into entering into the battle. Therefore, he can get captured. It only makes sense. So, very smart move tactically. So, I like what Oda did here. I also like the fact that Luffy and the... I almost said Luffy and the Straw Hats. Luffy and the pseudo Straw Hats. This crew that he's assembled from Impel Down. So, I guess we can call them the prison gang, the chain link gang, okay? I'm going to come up with something to call these guys, but they're falling from the sky. It's because Ivankov used the whole winking stuff, and Luffy's like, oh, I'm made out of rubber, so what if I fall? The rest of them like, idiot, we're not made out of rubber, and, you know, it's the cliche thing, the humor, idiot main character gets corrected, so I like what I see there. But Koby is looking like, holy shit. And I love the fact that we're seeing this right after Koby tried to leave the battlefield, and you have Aquino who shows up, and he says, if you're worried about your family, if you care so much about them, die an honorable death. And Aquino just puts the fear of God in Koby and Helmeppo, because they know, like, if they get caught, GG, game over. So I like that you see that, and in the same chapter that Luffy's falling, he's probably going to be what causes Koby to enter into the battlefield and actually throw down, because Koby's like, I can't handle this. And again, I get it, Koby. You know, Whitebeard, first he unzipped, and then he whipped it out. You see people stronger than you trying to take trips on Space Mountain, and the moment that they get on the ride, they're throwing up because they can't handle it. So I totally get it. I totally get it, man. You're out your comfort zone. I get it. So with all that out the way, Koby's probably going to get inspired by Luffy. All that out the way, I have to talk about this Doflamingo greatness. And I know you're like, well, he didn't do much. He took control of a guy, using his devil fruit, waves his fingers around, and makes the guy his puppet, start swinging off at his crew. I get it. I get it. Okay, so you're like, that ain't that damn impressive. Well, what got me, if you've been following this channel, you know that I like the deeper messages and meanings that you have and stuff. And this is what got me. Doflamingo's speech. When this dude is just laughing and shouting like this is getting really good. You can tell he's just enjoying himself. He's that fucking madman. Like Doflamingo is coming off like the Joker in Batman the Dark Knight. Like the Joker did some crazy shit, had some of the most memorable lines in the movie. In fact, you could say that Heath Ledger stole the fucking movie. But what made the Joker so crazy is when you read in between the lines of what he's saying, he was actually dropping some gems. There was some real stuff in there. And a character like that is meant to leave an impression on you, but actually challenge you to look at the scope of the world and how you're seeing it, to challenge your views. That's good writing right there. And what you're seeing here with what Oda's doing, you got Doflamingo just looking up in the sky and shit, sunglasses on, crazed look. And so it throws you off, but he's saying something really deep. He says, are the pirates the bad guys? Is the Navy the good guys? Well, okay. What have I been saying? Luffy and his crew, we should be rooting against them morally because they're pirates, but they don't behave like pirates. Doflamingo is telling you in this sense right here, it's not as black and white as you make it seem. There's always a gray area. And Oda manages to write in that gray area. So I like what you see there. So he says, are the pirates the bad guys? Is the Navy's the good guys? Things like that change with the season. So again, more about the gray area. I like that. That's deep. But here's the real meat of it. He says, kids who've never known peace and kids who've never known war have completely different ideas about right and wrong. And you see it because you have the kids who've never known peace. They're looking at the battlefield, they're looting. One of them looks like he hasn't eaten in a while. And then the kid that's never known war is getting upset over the food on the plate. And it's just showing that your perception of reality changes based on your experiences. And that goes back to what I've been saying from the very beginning. So, right off top, that'd be people like Fuego Leopold, that'd be people like Joshua Peters, that'd be people like, I'm gonna edit that out, that'd be people like I'll be, people who, Killer Queen, people who have been fighting, and there's more of you. Those are just the names I got right off top. But, shit, there's one more. It starts with a C. You don't comment that much, but when you comment, you write these long-ass comments. They're a complete joy to read because they're so in-depth. Fuck, I cannot remember your name right off top. I can't remember it right off top. But those people who have been here from day one, one thing that you know from my early reviews is I keep saying, like, when you read stuff like this, you should be asking yourself, what is the author trying to say about what it means to be human? What does it mean to be human? How has what you've read at the end of the arc when it finishes, how has that made you question what it means to be human? This passage right here just accomplishes for the whole arc. Oda's going to build on it. So the fact that he slipped it in this early into the arc lets you know that this is going to be a theme here. I love it. And this is the most in-your-face example. And that's what I love what I'm reading right here, because it just shows you that you could actually categorize Luffy in that. Because think about it for a second, okay? If you think about it, Luffy, his dad was away, so he's never known what it's like to have a father, though he's had Garp. Garp is out at the sea. I guess you say Shanks was like a father, but, I mean, that's to be determined, You have Ace, who isn't his real brother. But he's never really had a brother, but Ace is a brother in every other sense of the word. And when you look at it, Luffy has never really lost anybody. And now he's at a point where he could lose his brother. This is signaling that there's a potential for Luffy's character to change. We already saw it when he came to the conclusion he might lose his crew. He might lose Nico Robin. Well, we didn't have strong hints like this. So I do think Oda is going to kill Ace. And if this happens, Luffy has to change, or this whole panel, this series of panels have changed. But the other thing is I think Oda, because early on in the chapter, in the SB corner, one of the things that Oda says is that he says his grandmom told him, don't say stuff like kill this or kill that too much. It's natural for Luffy and his crew to not say it, but I think it's inevitable that the enemies do. But every time a friend or acquaintance died, I matured and understood how bad those words really are. Well, I still use those words as parts of jokes or when they're said by really bad guys, but I do think that they're bad words. So just looking at that, it goes into something that I've joked about. Oda don't kill shit. And the reason why I'm still giving there a possibility that Ace doesn't die is in this right here, you can tell that death is not something that Oda is comfortable with. And then you could say that's probably some of the Japanese culture being bled into this because the Japanese have a different view on death than certain parts of the world. So I totally get that. But at the same time, because his grandma instilled him not to use the word kill, and because he's experienced death, and One Piece is such a lighthearted series, I don't think he's going to have Luffy go through this. But at the same time, because he's matured and gone through death, I could potentially see a scenario where this does happen simply for the fact that he could use this as a way for Luffy to grow up. But again, this could go either way. And the fact that you got Garp, and this fits in the narrative what I'm saying. You guys know, just stick with me on this. You got Garp sitting there in the tears reflecting and saying, Ace, why didn't you just do what I asked you to do? And he says, like, I know we're fighting pirates, but this is family. This is different. Living in the gray area. And so this goes right back to what Doflamingo is saying. He says, it's the job of those at the top to decide what's good and what's evil. Right now, it could go either way. And it's the truth. History. His story. Okay? he who wins the battle controls what the narrative's going to be going forward. And both sides have done something fucked up. And yet, when you look at it, Ace, if he dies, is going to be remembered as a pirate. He's not going to be remembered as Garp's grandson. Even though Garp isn't his real grandson, he raised him like it. He's not going to be remembered for the things, the good deeds he's done. Because the narrative's going to change. And Doflamingo's telling you there's a gray area. And you got the physical representation with the struggle that Garp is going through. Because his duty is to serve the Navy. To go into the battle. That's his duty. That is his right as an officer to do that. But his wrong as a person is to realize, oh, Ace is going to be executed. They're moving it up. That's my grandson. I can't leave him. And he even says it. He says, just let me sit here. Leave me alone. It's like when you go back to the Civil War and you had father fighting against brother. Brother fighting against brother. Father fighting against son. That's what's happening here. Oda just stepped into some huge shit. And right here, he just caps it off. He says with Doflamingo, justice will prevail. Of course it will. Because the side of justice will be whichever side wins. And it just ties up into a neat bow. So I like that line there. And it's because it completely complements everything else that's happened in this. And the chapter ends off with Luffy descending like that. And that's the character who has not learned that there's a gray area. Luffy goes by his gut. Luffy knows a gray area exists, but he hasn't fully experienced it. He just knows you're good, you're bad, or I think you're good, I think you're bad. You give me a tingly feeling, you give me some meat. Luffy has a one-track mind. This arc's meant for him to grow up. Fuck. I can't believe I'm seeing on this one. Now, to end off this chapter review, I didn't forget about Whitebeard. You know, one of the vice admirals tries to sneak up on him. Whitebeard's just like, youngin', you're about 10,000 years too young to even be stepping towards me. And we know One Piece characters don't live that long. It just shows you the gap between this guy can live thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years and never be able to touch Whitebeard. Because Whitebeard just face plants this dude and kicks his ass off. So I like what you see there. And the Navy's put in their plan where I guess you could say they're doing their counterattack. But Luffy's about to change all of that. So my chapter question to you guys is, what did you think about Doflamingo's speech? I'm a big fan of it. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, guys. Have an awesome day.